getting a little better. Not quite where I want to be, but I'm getting better. I found that when I'm playing and it's up here, I breathe pretty hard and the microphone picks it up. So I put it down there so it kind of pick up more of the guitar than my breathing. Hopefully you didn't hear too much of it. You know, us old people, we breathe pretty hard. Anyways, some things have changed with how I'm playing. I have realized I'm pressing down way too hard with my fingers on the fretboard. I got in that habit because my acoustic guitar, my Yamaha acoustic, which if you've seen any of my other videos, you know the thing's about 40 years old. It was never set up correctly, and I was 12 when I got it. So I couldn't press down on the strings very well. And so even, back then I got so frustrated because I had to push down so hard, and it was a dreadnought. It's a dreadnought, and I was small, and I had a hard time playing it. So it sat for a long while. And I brought it back out, and it was a good guitar to start with because it was free. It's what I had. So it was really good to start with. But I got into a really bad way of pressing so hard down on the key or on the strings just to make some sound without it buzzing or anything like that. So when I got the new guitar, I've had to kind of relearn a little bit here that I don't need to press down real hard. I mean, because it was sounding terrible. I always thinking, oh my God, it's out of tune. No, it's not out of tune. What's going on? And I finally realized I was pressing down too hard. I don't have to press down very hard at all to get this one to sound good. I mean, I was pressing down so hard that it, like I said, it was just not sounding right. So not everything is created equal. And you can help make it more equal by getting it into a luthier and having your guitar looked at and see if there's any kind of setup that still needs to be done to it, which, like I said, never was done with the acoustic. So now I'm learning to do it a lot softer, while I'm doing it. So, I'm learning, I got to do it softer, but it's still hard. See there, I could even hear that I was doing it. It's still hard to get that in there because I want to press down so hard, but I don't need to, and so it just is way off in the sound. So I'm still working. I'm relearning a little bit, and you know what? Once you learn something, it's hard to relearn it, because practice makes permanent. I've said this before. Practice makes permanent. So if you practice wrong, you'll permanently play wrong. Perfect practice makes perfect playing. So I'm having to relearn how to do this. And I kind of made a mistake the other day. It wasn't really a real bad mistake. I had to drop my daughter off for her to be at the gym. Yeah, I should have stayed with her, but I didn't. I dropped her off, and I went to the local music store. I had about 40 minutes to kill, so, not a big deal. Just go in, look at some of the guitars and stuff, and kind of drool over them a little bit. And I was in with the acoustics, and the owner of the place comes in and says, are you looking for one? I said, well, no and yes. I go, I have an old acoustic. It doesn't play well. I'd like to get something that's really nice, but I don't have a lot of money. I have to save up for it. So he hands me a Taylor Academy 12. Now, if you don't know anything about the Taylor Academies and you play acoustic, I highly suggest you look into them. This thing played beautifully, and it wasn't like $1,000 or $600. It was like close to $550, $550, and it played smooth and nice. And it's one that you didn't have to have pressing down to make it sound good. So it was like, oh, so this is what it's supposed to be like to play an acoustic that's good. So even when we're talking about acoustic guitars, not all of them are created equal. Another thing that's not created equal, I've been finding out, are tabs. Going online trying to learn a new song, and the tablature is not always the same. It's not always the greatest. I was playing something the other day, and I was like, this doesn't sound like it at all. Am I pressing down too hard still? Am I doing... And I wasn't. It wasn't that at all. It was that the tabs were written wrong. And, they'd be good for a little bit, then all of a sudden there'd be like a couple of off notes, and you could really hear it, and you could really tell. And so I started doing some research on it, and a guy by the name of, I can't remember the guy's name, but his site is Art of the Guitar. And he has a couple of videos where he goes through and he goes through the tablature of a couple of books. And he's like, this is way off. This is way off. So it's just not me. It wasn't me. These tabs are just not created equal. So be very careful out there when you're getting tabs. Make sure that they're accurate on them. I get a lot of my stuff from like Justin Guitar and Marty Music. They do a wonderful job. I mean, you hear them playing what their tablature is beforehand, so you can actually hear, yeah, that sounds like it. That sounds perfect like it. So if you're going to go for some new tablatures and stuff like that, just be careful where you get them from, because not all of them are created equal. So, and I've been trying to now also work a little bit with my Boss Katana. Again, not everything's created equal. This Boss Katana is awesome. I'm starting to get to know some of the different sounds that are on here, playing with them a little bit, and just trying to learn some stuff. It's been great. I'm still learning. I've been working on this less than a week. I just watched it on Sweetwater's website or YouTube site, and the guy did a wonderful job of explaining it, and he sets it up in little chunks. So I'm still trying to get it. I don't have a lot of time to practice, so it's. I'll get there eventually. It's going to take some time. Everything has its time. And, being an older person, my fingers and stuff don't work too great all the time. I just got done working on my truck before I came in here. I had to take a big shower because I was grimy. And I didn't want to touch any of the guitars while I was grimy. So I had to take a really long shower, scrub them, and everything. The fuel pump on my truck is rusting out, so you can smell gas. And it's leaking gas from the fuel pump. The gas tank itself is plastic, so it doesn't rust, but the fuel pump is metal, and it does rust out, and it's one of the big problems that they have with Colorados and with Canyons by GM, that they rust out. Anyways, you didn't need to know that, but that's what I was dealing with before I was doing this, because there's always something to do. So my hands are kind of hurting from wrenching like I was, because I'm going to be 54 in 2 weeks, so it takes a little bit of time, and I'm not as nimble as what I was, and so it takes a little bit longer for me to get these down with the fingers and so forth, because I just don't have it. I also have some nerve damage in my right arm, so picking isn't always the easiest thing for me because of the nerve damage. But I'm enjoying it. I'm loving this. I am loving coming and playing some of this stuff and learning it. And my daughter and I have decided that we're gonna do a song together. We're gonna try to do Hallelujah together. And so we just got to figure out which version, because when you look online, again, there's different versions, and some of them don't make sense. Some of them do. A lot of them are just the same verses, but they're switched around in there. So, like, they all start out with the same verse in verse 1, which is great. But then sometimes they'll have, one of them will have verse 2 in the verse 4 spot, and the verse 4 and the 3 and the 3 and the... So we really just, she and I have to go and just figure out which version. See, I'm pressing down too hard again. I got to get out of that. I was learning it on the acoustic, and so I got to get out of that habit of pressing down so hard. So I just got to do that. I'm getting down this B7. I try to move up so far that my pinky ends up on the fret itself instead of behind it. So I got to move my hand back a little bit, which is unlike what I try to do with all the rest of mine. I'm trying to keep every single finger really close to those frets. But on that one, I got to slide my first 3 fingers back a little bit more to make room for that pinky. Same thing when I'm doing my D, I try to get up here, but when I have to do a D7, I got to slide my fingers back a little bit more, and I got to remember to do that. So So I still get in that habit of pushing down, even when I'm concentrating on it. I'm pushing down. Maybe that's my problem, is I'm concentrating too much, and maybe I should just, just kind of go with it instead of... and I'm going to go get lessons. That's the bottom line. I got to go get lessons. somebody to kind of go over with me, because doing it on your own is really tough. Even though I love my lessons that I do from Marty Music, and my other classes from Justin Guitar, both of them I think are incredible ones. But there's nothing like getting that feedback from somebody else who's right there, who can tell you, no, you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong. So I just gotta get some lessons. And anyways, but loving it, enjoying it. It's really relaxing, especially a stressful day after I'm working in either the ICU or the COVID unit. Getting home, taking a shower, taking 15 minutes to myself, just strumming away, trying to, relax. I got to stay away from my Yamaha acoustic, because it gets me in a bad habit of pressing down too hard. So I'm gonna retire it and start saving for that Taylor Academy. So, but that's what's been going on in my world. I hope your world's going on pretty good. With everything that I've said, that I'm not really complaining and bitching. I have a good life. I really do. And I love playing, and I know that I'm going to get better, and I just got to stick with it. I just got to be a little bit more regimented on getting time for me to do it. So anyways, it's let's see now, about 5:15 in the morning. I've been up since yesterday afternoon, getting ready to go back to work tonight. I'm not sure if I'm going to be on the COVID unit or in the ICU. Either way, when I get home, I'll play another 15 minutes. So hopefully I didn't wake anybody up tonight with my playing. And if I did, oh well, they're pretty loud during the day. So anyways, you guys have a great rest of the day. I'll see you next month.